Here's what you need to know about the full moon in Scorpio happening on Friday, May 1st, 2026 at 1:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This full moon is not just emotional. It's mathematical. It's mythological. It's fated. It's a mirror event, a karmic checkpoint, a power reclamation. On Friday, May 1st, 2026 at 1:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the full moon rises 11 degrees Scorpio, opening the first gate in a two-part culmination cycle, with a second full moon, the blue moon, happening at the end of the month. And this degree is where you cannot unsee. It's where everything changes. The name for any full moon happening in the month of May is the flower moon, named after the May-blooming wildflowers. Annually, the flower moon occurs during the heart of spring in the Northern Hemisphere, and it typically coincides with the planting season, which is why this full moon is also known as the budding or the planting moon. This full moon symbolizes the transformation that's about to unfold not only this month, but over the next 6 months, by the time we reach the harvest moon in the fall, 6 months from now. The flower's growth, from seed to blossom, is a metaphor for deep personal transformation. No mud, no lotus. As with all full moons, it represents endings. This full moon features the sun spotlighting 11 degrees Taurus, opposing the full moon, illuminating 11 degrees Scorpio. This creates an axis of opposition or point of tension that plays out through our interpersonal relationships. The moon is considered to be debilitated or weakened in the sign of Scorpio, bringing emotional intensity to a dramatic peak. The sun spotlighting Taurus energy versus the Scorpio moon creates dynamic tension along what's known in astrology as the financial axis, emphasizing a need for balance in accumulating what is valued, Taurus, and for releasing that which is excessive or no longer needed, Scorpio. Taurus is a deeply stubborn fixed earth sign ruled by Venus, currently in Gemini with Uranus, learning the importance of adapting to change. It's all about balancing the rhythms of rest, work, and play, the rhythms of life. Scorpio is a fixed water sign ruled by Mars, currently empowered in its other sign of rulership in Aries, and Pluto, currently in Aquarius, transforming each of us to align with greater authenticity and soul purpose. Scorpio is all about cutting, digging, unearthing, purging, and transforming. The stubborn nature of the fixed signs makes them particularly resistant to change. However, take it from a natal moon conjunct Mars in Gemini, change is indeed the only constant in life. Taurus energy is symbolized by the bull, representing fertility, spring, renewal, tenacity, strength, and the importance of consistency in manifesting abundance. Remain steady and stay the course, but also be adaptable to change, as it's inevitable. Full moons are about endings, but they're also about completion and harvesting, celebrating what you've accomplished. As the most spiritually charged phase of the lunar cycle, it's a time to reap the rewards of past efforts and intentions that were planted 6 months prior, under the corresponding new moon in Scorpio back in November 2025. The moon in Scorpio is all about power and control, powerful emotional situations, an inheritance that changes the course of your life, psychological overwhelm, secrets suddenly revealed, love turning to hate, or hate turning to love, because girls only say I hate you to guys that they love. Truths we didn't see before come to light, and they become impossible to ignore. In Scorpio, deeply held, long repressed secrets come to light, and they're often sexual in nature. This is because Scorpio rules the reproductive and eliminatory systems of the body. They could be criminal secrets, deep emotional attachments, related to big, often family wealth and inheritance, and they can even involve money earned through dishonest means. This full moon, happening 11 degrees Scorpio, falls within the second decan of Scorpio, which is traditionally sub-ruled by Neptune and Jupiter. It is known as the Pisces, or dreamer, decan of Scorpio, familiar to those with birthdays between November 1st and November 11th. This blends Scorpio's intensity with Neptune/Jupiter's mystical, empathetic, and more fluid Piscean quality. This is the archetype of the healer, the mystic, the dreamer. This decan of Scorpio is associated with the Six of Cups card in Tarot, highlighting themes of reunion, emotional nostalgia, and deep-rooted feelings. This is especially true when we consider that Jupiter is in Cancer, expanding deep feelings of nostalgia. So the sign of shadow, depth, and the unconscious is expanded by nostalgia. This is not just feeling your emotions, but seeing the deeper truth inside of them. This is emotional truth becoming visible or public, shadow becoming conscious, and control and power dynamics revealed through exposure. This decan carries the archetype of the hero's journey, specifically of Hercules. Hercules represents the stage of the journey where transformation is no longer optional. Hercules wasn't born a hero. He became one through trials and tribulations, the iconic 12 labors, that forced him to confront monsters, loss, and even his own shadow. He faced impossible tasks, not to prove his strength, but to become it, and in so doing, overcame his controlling, power-hungry, deeply narcissistic father, Zeus. This is about power through confrontation with truth. This full moon is that moment. You're no longer descending. You're in the trial itself. 11 is a master number, representing two pillars, one gateway. It represents spiritual awakening, heightened intuition, divine alignment, and mirroring. And it comes through activation, through disruption, the truth you can no longer ignore. But more specifically, 1111 is an angel number. It's often experienced and seen during twin flame activation, soul recognition, and timeline shifts. 1111 symbolizes two individuals standing as mirrors, aligned in frequency, but often separated by lessons that require integration and transformation. 11 is the number of reflection. It creates symmetry, mirrors. So in this full moon, 11 degrees Scorpio activates emotional mirroring and twin flame union or reunion through intense relational triggers. The 1111 frequency amplifies recognition and spiritual awakening. This is why connections may feel faded, intense, and even unavoidable. This is because they are reflecting something that must be seen and integrated within yourself. Otherwise, it wouldn't trigger you. 11 degrees in degree astrology is an Aquarius degree, and Scorpio's modern ruler, Pluto, is in Aquarius, aligned with Juno. This is about aligning our commitments with authenticity. This is because Scorpio rules energetic cords, deep emotional bonds and attachments, and psychological merging, where we take a relationship into marriage and merge money. When a full moon hits 11 degrees Scorpio, you don't just feel your emotions, you feel what's being reflected back to you through another person, through your partner. We mentioned that the moon is debilitated or weakened in the sign of Scorpio. Scorpio energy is symbolized by the scorpion, and lower evolutions of Scorpio energy reactively cut things prematurely with a stinging, often poisonous, highly reactive tail. Despite its tough, scary appearance, the scorpion's exoskeleton protects a sensitive, vulnerable interior, and its claws cling to past hurt, betrayal, and resentment for far longer than is healthy. It's time to allow fears and hidden emotions to come to the surface, where we can not only conquer them, but release them, creating space for something new and beautiful to blossom under this full flower moon. If we hold on to these emotions, they do become repressed, and they can callous or harden our heart. Venus aligned with Uranus in Gemini, the mirror activation point. Venus and Uranus just crossed 29 degrees Taurus together, bringing a crisis to relationships and finance, and entered Gemini. This is a massive threshold crossing, a closing of one relational cycle and the beginning of another. Venus represents love, attraction, values, money, how we earn money, and Uranus represents awakening, disruption, and sudden change that liberates the soul. This activates Aphrodite meeting Uranus. In Greek mythology, Uranus is Aphrodite's origin point. She was born from sea foam that was created when Uranus was severed. So when Aphrodite meets Uranus again symbolically, this is returning to the origin of desire, awakening love at a primordial level, disrupting what love used to be. In astrology, this becomes sudden detachment or sudden attraction, electric chemistry, unexpected reunions or separations, dramatic timeline shifts in relationships. And in the sign of Gemini, the twins, it becomes a choice between two paths as a long overdue message comes in. This full moon activates twin flame dynamics through 11 degrees, activating symmetry and reflection, Scorpio, activating emotional and energetic bonds, Venus, Uranus aligned, activating sudden relational shifts and spiritual awakening, and the Pluto-Juno alignment, activating long-term soul contracts. This is where you see yourself clearly through another. Dynamics intensify to reveal deeper truths, and connections either evolve or they fall apart. Let's explore the Sabian symbolism involved. With 11 degrees Scorpio, we round up to 12, an embassy ball. Key themes include diplomacy and formality, the need for full dress behavior, and civilized interaction, often requiring one to rise above their deeper personal feelings for a higher purpose. Cultural interplay, interacting with elites or representatives of different worlds, showcasing harmony and superficial cooperation, and group consciousness. A focus on the collective, a social organization, or the refinement of social interaction. This symbol speaks to social diplomacy, navigating power through the art of subtlety. This is not raw emotion alone. This is strategic emotional intelligence. Motorcycle drive-by, there's your sign. In essence, this symbol suggests navigating complex, intense, or high-stakes social situations. Scorpio, with grace, diplomacy, and a focus on established, constructive relationships, symbolized by the embassy ball. You are being asked, how do you move through intensity with awareness? How do you engage without losing yourself? The Sabian symbol for the sun, 11 degrees Taurus, rounding up to 12 degrees Taurus, window shoppers. The opposing sun reveals exploring potential, dreaming, and assessing desires before taking action, implying a tentative examination of life's possibilities, allowing you to align your actions with your truest desires. Evaluating what you want and visualizing those desires, acting as a preview for future reality. Visualization is a powerful tool for manifesting. Together, this axis creates tension between participation and observation, emotional involvement versus emotional detachment. We'll all be challenged to find balance between those opposing forces. This full moon activates two fixed stars, Zubin al-Janubi, from Arabic al-Zubin, al-Janubi, meaning the southern claw or scale. This brings themes of justice, karmic rebalancing, and consequences aligning with truth. This fixed star carries themes of imbalance, correction, and moral recalibration. Zubin al-Janubi, also known as Alpha Librae, the southern claw of Scorpio, archetypally represents themes of the insufficient price or the heavy, sometimes malefic burdens associated with judgment, justice, and social imbalance. The star symbolizes the difficult, often unrewarded karmic balancing required in the pursuit of fairness and equity. The southern scale or claw, originally part of Scorpius, the claws, it represents active, intense, and often painful process of weighing karmic action. And acrux, which represents spiritual initiation, devotion to a higher path, walking a path that requires surrender and commitment. Acrux, also known as Alpha Crucius, is located at the foot of the Southern Cross, representing an archetype of profound transformation, sacrifice, and the pursuit of hidden knowledge. This fixed star is heavily associated with justice, mystery, magic, and a deep religious or spiritual insight, often highlighting individuals with occult, psychic, or metaphysical abilities. As the base of the cross, acrux is connected to endurance, perseverance, and managing heavy responsibilities or hardships on the path to profound personal transformation. And this is not surface level transformation. This is soul level alignment, a cosmic recalibration. And I'd like to share with you, under the light of this full moon, I have made a decision to, as a symbol of my deep personal transformation and a symbol of washing away the trauma and pain that, you know, we try to release things under each full moon, but I'm human too. I still hold on to things longer than is healthy or necessary. I've got some Scorpio in my chart. The Moon-Mars combination I alluded to in Gemini is in my 8th house, and I have Pluto in Scorpio. I'm a millennial. That's strong Scorpio energy. Part of the reason I got into creating these new moon and full moon cycles is because I, just like all of you, need to actively work on these things so that those emotions don't consume me, especially as an empath who works with other people and their emotions. It's important to recognize what is theirs and what is mine, and to continually cleanse and release that. So I've made the decision to get baptized. And it happens to be the evening of this full moon. For anyone who's in the Philadelphia area that wants to come out and support, it'll be at Epic Church in Roxborough, and doors open at 7. The service starts at 7:30. But I've made this conscious decision because I've been away from content building for a little bit, and it was because I had some generational trauma that I had to work through, not only personally, but help heal for my family. And I'm a Cancer midheaven. I have my midheaven right on the star of Sirius. My family, as difficult as things can be, is very, very important to me. And somebody has to break the chain. Somebody has to end the cycle. And the cycle for our family, there's infidelity. And with that infidelity comes a lot of trust issues and fears of abandonment. And I'm not going to get into all the details of how I healed that, but I dare say I have also healed my anxiety. More on that in another video. Let's explore some more of the aspects involved under this full moon. We have an Aries stellium, a concentration of planets in the sign of Aries. Mercury conjunct Chiron, 27 degrees Aries, with Mars, Saturn, and Neptune all co-present in the sign. This is multi-layered, and I'll unpack it. Mars represents our drive, our action, our instinct. Saturn is about our discipline and personal accountability. Neptune is about spiritual dissolution. And Mercury and Chiron together is truth through wounds, the alignment of words with actions, and words that can hurt, but also bring healing. This is truth spoken through wounds, confrontation that leads to healing, the courage to say what was never said, saying what hurts, hearing what you avoided, and confronting truth directly. But with Saturn and Neptune here, this can also mean aligning action with integrity, dissolving illusions about the self or others, taking responsibility for your healing instead of playing the victim, which was so very Neptune and Pisces, and thankfully we have left that behind us collectively. Next, we have Pluto and Juno aligned in Aquarius. This represents Hera and Hades. Hera, wife to Zeus, represents commitment, but also where we stay bound out of obligation or duty, while Pluto, Hades, represents the truth beneath the surface, what we need to unearth. Together in the sign of Aquarius, outdated relationship structures dissolve so that they can transform, power imbalances are exposed, and authenticity becomes a non-negotiable. This is where you ask, is this connection aligned with who I am becoming? We have a fixed T-square, a trial by fire. This is formed by the Sun in Taurus, spotlighting stability, material reality, and the physical body. The moon in Scorpio, emotional truth, vulnerability, and personal transformation, squaring off against Pluto and Juno in Aquarius, representing collective evolution and relationship contracts. These forces form a critical point of tension. It looks like a bow and arrow, comfort versus truth, security versus transformation, and attachment versus evolution. I mentioned it looks like a bow and arrow. So we have Taurus versus Scorpio, and we have Aquarius. Opposite Aquarius is Leo, and this is the point of release or tension. Leo represents the heart chakra, authentic self-expression, courage, leadership, and parenting. Its archetype is Apollo. The resolution is not control. It is surrender, leading from the heart, choosing authenticity over fear. Will you choose authenticity, or will you remain shackled in control patterns? We also have a Yod, an isosceles triangle, also known as a finger of God, formed between Venus and Gemini, representing choice, duality, and relational decisions, sextile to Saturn and Aries, representing responsibility and self-leadership or self-sovereignty, and the sextile, bringing opportunity and alignment, reality checks in love, finance, work, and all relationships. It's pointing or converging on the point of the isosceles triangle, which is the Scorpio full moon, emotional truth, vulnerability, and exposure, true intimacy. This creates a decision point, a fated redirection, a moment where choice meets consequence. A small choice now alters your entire timeline. Thank you for watching. If you're still with me, you're a real one. Drop your current most used emoji in the comments. If you took anything away from this video, we ask that you like, comment, share the content, and subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, we know that you'll enjoy the full playlist and this additional video. Thank you so much, love you, and see you soon.